LNG, the East End's best music. You got the Chris Buckout program right now, 11:01, and the East End's best music, not just on the radio, but out there and about as well. We got a great show coming up at the Suffolk Theater. Friday, March 4th, it's going to be Kasim Sulton's Utopia. We got Kasim on the line right now. Good morning, Kasim.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for spending a little time with us today. Now, Utopia originally formed in '73, of course, Todd Rundgren's project there. And you joined up in 1976, making that classic quartet of Utopia, the one that's best well-known. How did that come about?
Well, the band started off as a rather large band. I guess it was probably about seven musicians on stage, including Todd. And it just kind of morphed from a prog rock band, sort of strictly prog rock, a lot of instrumentals, a lot of playing, a lot of noodling around on stage, to the four-piece power pop version, which was the one that lasted for about 10 years with me in it.
That's right. It was like more of a, like you said, a prog band up to a certain point, and then it almost switched gears and said, the 80s are coming. Let's make some money. Let's get some good.
Yeah, I think it was not only just about making money. I think it was also about just trying different things, appealing to a larger audience, and trying to, make things a little bit more palatable for more people.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was a more unique sound, a more niche band, which a lot of the prog groups were back then.
Right, which is a big reason why I decided to do these shows originally about 3.5 years ago. The band played a really, really important role in a lot of people's lives, helping to create the soundtrack of their early years. So the band's not together anymore. And the music still lives on, and I just thought it would be really, really cool to keep that music alive in a live setting.
Well, that's what you're going to be playing with your Kasim Sulton's Utopia tour, right? Those are the songs of the Utopia. Kind of is it a career spanning? Is it more focused on the early stuff?
Actually, we do everything from a couple of songs from before I was in the band to everything up until the band kind of took an extended sabbatical in 1986. We're still on that sabbatical, by the way. I do a lot of the songs that I sing, and I also sprinkle in some other fan favorites from over the course of our time together.
Well, how did you come to be a member of Utopia? They were already a known band when you joined them in '76, correct?
Yeah, well, it was just a series of happy accidents. Going to visit a friend of mine, and he needed a ride to the airport. He had heard that Todd Rundgren was looking for a bass player, mentioned it to me, told me to call a certain individual and let them know that I was available for an audition. The next day, I found myself on a Greyhound Trailways bus up to Woodstock, New York. I auditioned for the band, and the rest is my musical history.
Yeah, and quite a musical history as well, of course, with Utopia, but you've played with so many other artists as well. Looking through the bio, really incredible, just the number of musicians that you've played with over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I've done everything from Meatloaf to Joan Jett to Celine Dion to Richie Sambora, John Bon Jovi, Cheap Trick, Don Felder. I mean, the list is somewhat endless.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So you're almost doing a full circle and coming back to where you started.
Yeah. Well, my roots always remained in Utopia, and that music really, really kind of formed the basis of the rest of my career. The band did. And so I always tip my hat to Todd and Roger Powell, Willie Wilcox, the other two members in Utopia. And I just enjoy playing that music as much as I enjoy doing my own material, my own solo stuff. I just had an album come out in September of last year, Kasim Sulton 2021, and that's my solo material. It's about it's just a bunch of 3-4 minute pop songs that are really, really well crafted. I have a great producer and songwriter that I work with, a guy by the name of Phil Thornalley over in London, and we just have a wonderful time working. And it's a really great record on Deco Records. great record label, and I'm just having the best time that one could possibly have in the music business.
Yeah, it's got to be good to get back on the road as well, right?
Yeah, I mean the show that we're bringing to the Suffolk Theater it's just a really, really fun 90 minutes, hour 45 minutes of really, really cool music and some great musicianship. I have Matt Beck on guitar. He's the guitar player for Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20. Great keyboard player Lloyd Landesman from the Long Island area, actually. And my drummer Andy Ascalise. It's just a really, really cool band.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. It's going to be coming up Friday, March 4th at the Suffolk Theater right there in Riverhead, and people can get tickets by going to SuffolkTheater.com. Let me ask you real quick, out of all the artists that you just mentioned, obviously one that's been in the news a lot lately due to his unfortunate passing is Meatloaf. What was it like working with Meatloaf?
Well, we did the first record in 1976. I played bass on that entire Bat Out of Hell, the first Bat Out of Hell record.
Wow!
It was a complete trip because no one had any clue that was going to be a big record, and it wasn't until a year and a half later when I completely forgot about recording that record that I was in my car. I was on my way up to Woodstock from New York City, and I heard something on the radio that sounded vaguely familiar, and I tried to put two and two together. Where have I heard that before? Where do I know that song from? You know the feeling, and it dawned on me that was the record that I had recorded about a year and a half prior to that. And I thought to myself, oh, well, that's really good. Those guys got their record on the radio. How great. Meanwhile, 50 million records later, it's still in the charts to this day.
That's great. Yeah, it must have been tricky at that time. Like, where are you going to classify this? This isn't punk. This isn't disco. This isn't new. What is this, right?
Well, I think that's part of the reason why it was so successful. It wasn't pigeonholed. It wasn't put into one category and kind of had to struggle for any notice. It was its own category. So it was a mixture of Phil Spector and Bruce Springsteen and heavy rock and pop and stories, and it was just a perfect thing for that time in music.
Yeah, and you continued your relationship with Meatloaf through the years as well.
Yeah, I wound up working in his live band for about 17 years, 10 of which I was his musical director.
Wow. All right, I'm going to get back to what we're doing here on Friday, March 4th, the music of Utopia. And that sounds like a lot of fun. And is this it almost looks like you started the tour back in 2018 and maybe took a break due to the COVID and kind of picking it back up now?
We were in the middle of a 16-city tour in March of 2020 when we got the call that the entire country was shutting down. And we still had about 6 or 7 shows to go. And I'm actually making up a couple of those shows on this go round. 2 years later? Yeah, because it was March of 2020. So March of 2022, and we're just now getting out. People are starting to come to shows again. It's just a really, really wonderful feeling because, as a musician and certainly as a touring musician, we want people to come to shows, but we also want them to feel safe and feel like it's a good environment for them to be in. So that the country is starting to open up right now is just the best feeling in the whole world, and I can't wait to get out and play these songs and play for an audience. And I'm really looking forward to coming up to your area in Suffolk, so at the Suffolk Theater.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, that's the Suffolk Theater, Friday, March 4th. Tickets still available. You go to SuffolkTheater.com. It's going to be an evening show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, people are dying to get out there and see some live music, dance a little bit, and hear those songs they remember. Of course, the one of the biggest songs people are going to remember is the 1980 Utopia hit, Set Me Free. And you're on the lead in that, aren't you? Or I lead vocals on that? Right out in front?
Yes, that's me singing lead on Set Me Free. I wrote that song and brought it to the band because I wanted to get off of my record contract with Bearsville Records. So I wrote Set Me Free and wound up becoming the only hit that Utopia had.
Yeah,
So I'm very proud of that song, and it's usually somewhere in the set. I won't say where, but it is definitely in the show.
Yeah, and you're in the video as well, right? Right in the beginning.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
It's kind of fun to look back, 42 years later, right?
Oh my God, please, why did you have to say that? I still feel like I felt when I was 42 years ago.
Nice.
But a few days have passed since then.
That's right. You're raring to go, though. A bunch of months of lockdown, and you're ready to play these live shows, and got
Absolutely.
a great touring band as well. So we're going to try to let people know that Friday, March 4th, Suffolk Theater, it is going to be Kasim Sulton's Utopia, and I think we're going to get out of here by playing Set Me Free. How's that sound?
That sounds great, Chris. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And everybody, come on out to the Suffolk Theater on March 4th.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Thanks, Kasim.
Thank you, Chris.